Hello there. Welcome to a new episode of the Fluent English Pro podcast. My name is David Perez, your host. And today I am going to give you a few pronunciation tips so you sound better in English. These tips are going to be particularly useful if you are a native Spanish speaker because I based the choices for the pronunciation tips on aspects that represent a particular difficulty for Spanish speakers. Yeah. I am not going to cover all of them because that will be like a very, very long episode or even a whole course. I am going to cover just some of them. And maybe in a future episode, I am going to cover others as well. So, why does pronunciation matter? Yeah, I have mentioned in previous episodes that pronunciation and accent do not need to be perfect. And they don't because the way you pronounce things or the accent you have is part of your own linguistic background and cultural background. So it's okay that you have that particular accent. But it is also important that your pronunciation is somewhat clear and easy to understand for other speakers of English, either native or non-native. And in the context of business, it is going to be particularly important that you focus on this because we want to have the most fluid communication possible and we want to transmit proposals, we want to have negotiations, we want to be on job interviews in English, and we want to have that exchange of ideas and we want that to flow very easily. Now, let's check what some of the most common struggles are for native Spanish speakers when it comes to pronunciation. The first one is the TH sound, which doesn't exist in Latin American Spanish. It does exist, or part of it exists in Spanish from Spain, but it doesn't exist in Latin American Spanish, and that is the th sound, as in think, thought, throw, thank. Yeah, that th the sound is interdental. It doesn't exist in Spanish. And we have a variation from it. Yes, we have the voiceless, which is think, and the voiced variation. Voiced means that the throat vibrates. You have vibration in the pronunciation. Yes, though, thorough, although. Yeah, you have th and you have the. You have those two sounds. If you cannot make up the difference, that's okay because it takes practice to differentiate both sounds. That's perfectly fine. But we have variations. We have two variations. We have the and we have the. Yes, voiced, the, and voiceless. The. All right. That doesn't exist in Spanish. It is very common that Spanish speakers pronounce t. Yes, as in think, tree, tank, instead of think, three, thank. Very common. So it is important to be aware of this and make a difference in the sound. You do not say tree, you say three. Otherwise, you are saying a different word. It's important to be aware of this. Now, another sound that is easy. I think it's very easy for Spanish speakers, but sometimes we forget, or sometimes just like the brain kicks in and it does the rolling R in English. When in English the R is like R. R is a retroflex sound. R. Yes, read, read. We like that R sound doesn't exist in most variations of Spanish. It does exist in in some countries and in some accents, but for most of the Spanish variation, it doesn't exist. So some people can still be heard using the rolling R whenever they're speaking in English. I think I like the sound of it. I like the sound of it. It is nice. It is understandable. It might lead to confusions now and then, but overall, I think it's pretty understandable. It sounds nice. The other difference is, and I think maybe this is the most challenging one for Spanish speakers, is vowel sounds. Because in Spanish, vowel sounds are very simple. We only have 5 vowel sounds. We have a, e, o, u. That's it. Yeah. But in English, you have 12 vowel sounds. 12. In Spanish, you have 5 sounds. In English, you have 12. In addition to that, for example, we have long vowels and short vowels. Yes, we have ship versus sheep. Yeah. Or we have sick versus seek. Okay. We have e and e sounds, short, dark sounds, and long, dark sounds in vowels. And we also have o, yes, as in turn or burn. Yeah, it's different. Or we also have the a as in can. So these sounds do not exist in Spanish, or like these nuances of sounds or vowel sounds do not exist in Spanish, and it's important to practice them. The thing with these vowels in English is that some of them change a lot depending on the country or accent. Thus, in this case, the point of reference can be kind of the ideal standard variation, even though we know standard is not natural necessarily, but it helps. It helps us to have like a more natural and also more understandable sound. Hey there, if you're enjoying the podcast, imagine how much more progress you could make with consistent, specialized support every week. Introducing the Fluent English Pro membership, designed specifically for busy professionals like you who want to keep improving their English even on a busy schedule. You'll find fluency activities, tutorials, mini courses, vocabulary builders, and live events, all focused on work and business English. Whether it's mastering international meetings, doing presentations, or answering tricky emails, this space is built to help you grow. If you're serious about your communication skills, visit fluentenglishpro.com/members and subscribe today. That is fluentenglishpro.com/members. Let's turn your English into your biggest professional asset. Another difference, which is very small, but it makes your pronunciation very, very, very natural, is the D and T. They are different in Spanish and English. A lot of people don't know this. I'm surprised. Yeah. D and T in Spanish are dental. Yes. That's why you say tomate. Yeah. You put your tongue behind your teeth. Tomate. Yeah. That will be tomato. In English, D and T are not dental. They are alveolar. They go right above your teeth. Yes. Like you don't touch your teeth, you touch your gums. You touch your gums like right behind your teeth, as if you were moving towards the palate. Yeah. That's why you have a difference there. You have tomato or tomato versus tomate. Yeah. Is the same T? No, it's not the same T. Yeah. Same with the D. Yeah. Day, dia. Day, dia. Right? And if you add to that in Spanish, we have 2 different sounds for D. We have 2 different sounds for D. I am not going to go into much detail here because this is not a Spanish phonetics class, but we do have 2 different sounds for D. Yes, as in dedo. Yes, we have de and de. De, de. Yeah. In English, we only have d. Yeah. Dental. Dental. Okay. That's the difference. Good. So to recap, some sounds that do not exist in Spanish and do exist in English, and that sometimes native speakers forget when it comes to Spanish speakers learning English. Yeah. The th and the sounds. Yeah. Think, thought, thorough, although, thank, that th. You have to practice that sound. You cannot continue say, "Oh, I have three brothers." You don't have three brothers. You have three brothers. It's important to practice that. Then you also have the R, the retroflex R. And you have the difference in vowels, yes, ship versus sheep, sick versus seek, etc. And you have, this is a smaller, more nuanced variation, which is dental D and dental T. Yes, they or versus dia, or tomato versus tomate. That's important. So, some techniques to improve your pronunciation. First is consciously position your tongue when pronouncing new words. Yes, the position of the tongue is key, is very important to how a consonant sounds. So if you consciously focus on the location of like where your tongue is going or what your tongue is touching inside your mouth, that is going to help you adjust and improve your pronunciation. Yeah, don't think about the meaning of the word, don't think about the pronunciation of the full word. Just think about the pronunciation of that specific syllable or that specific consonant. The other technique I think is very, very, very effective is shadowing. That means imitating native speakers. One way you can do this is through music. You can sing songs in English. That's going to help a lot. And the other thing is with just videos, conversational videos, and you listen to a sentence or two, and then you replicate with a pronunciation and intonation that are as similar as possible to the person in the video you're watching. Just make sure, preferably, that this is a native speaker that you're listening to. And the other element is minimal pairs practice. Minimal pairs are words that are written and pronounced similar, but that have different meanings. Yes. For example, if you have ship and sheep, as mentioned in the example, we have the short E and the long E. Yeah. Or tank, thank. Another example can be seal, zeal, fool, foul, and so on. There are words that are very similar in pronunciation, but that have that variation in both cases, right? They have variation either in the consonant sound or they have variation in the vowel sound. Great. So, as a conclusion, do not obsess over this. Work on it. Yes, improvement is the result of consistent work on a particular aspect, but do not obsess over this. If you don't have a perfect pronunciation, it doesn't mean that you cannot communicate or that your English is not good. It doesn't mean that, okay? I'm just giving you tips so you can work a little bit on being a tiny bit better every day, improving your English a little bit more every day. That's how it works. And enjoy the process. Good? So, together with this video on our platform, either Patreon or a website, if you are a subscriber, we are going to give you some resources for pronunciation practice. So you're going to be able to access those resources and continue working on improving your English pronunciation. All right, that's all for now. Thank you very much for listening and watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Follow us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts or Spotify and on social as well. You can find us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. If you want to go deeper into these matters, into these subjects, and improve your English even more with more efficient resources and exercises and materials, you can subscribe to our Patreon. There, you're going to have a lot of content, a lot of material that you can access And we are going to be posting new content there every single month. So you can continue improving. That's all for now. Thank you very much and see you in the next episode. Goodbye.